So tonight we're gonna make a quick Kale Caesar salad that is vegan. We're gonna add some chickpeas on the top for some added protein. So first thing you do is you just wanna make sure you wash your kale very well. I use a veggie wash to just remove any pesticides or chemicals or dirt that may be remaining on it. Even if it's organic, it's a good idea to go ahead and wash this really well. Usually just a couple seconds. You're gonna rinse that and drain it, and then chop up your kale. I'm cutting the stems off, and then you'll just chop it up. Some people like their kale more finely chopped. Some people like a little bit bigger sections. So whatever your preference, you're just gonna chop that. And then you're gonna put your chopped kale in a bowl, and you're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil. I'm supposed to be using lemon juice. I didn't have any lemon juice, so we're using lime. And this just helps break down the kale to be more digestible. Set that aside, and then you're gonna make your Caesar sauce. So I'm putting 2 tablespoons of tahini. I have a garlic tahini I picked up from Sprouts that I really like. You're gonna put 2 tablespoons in your blender. And then I'm gonna use some flax seeds. This recipe calls for hemp seeds, which I didn't have, so I'm putting 2 tablespoons of flax seeds in the blender. And then I'm just gonna add a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast, which you can or cannot add, depending on your preference, how you feel about using that product. Next, I'm gonna put a little bit of Dijon mustard, calls for a teaspoon. The recipe does call for 1 head of garlic. I put 2 just because I love garlic. And then it did call for kale chips. However, I have some dried seaweed that I'm gonna use for another recipe, so I put a couple sheets of seaweed in the blender. And finally, the lime juice. 1/4 cup of water, salt and pepper to taste. I like a lot of pepper in mine. And then you're just going to blend the whole mixture. With the flax seeds, you may need to pause and stop your blending and then restart several times to allow all the flax seeds to flow back to the bottom so that they're fully chopped in your blender. Then you're gonna pour your dressing over your kale, which has been marinating with the lime juice and olive oil. Make sure you get it all out of your blender. And then just mix that up. I decided to also chop up a tomato to go on our salad, add a little flavor. If you don't like tomatoes, you could add cucumbers, maybe some red onion chopped up, whatever your preference is. I had just bought these tomatoes from a local farmer's market earlier today, so I decided to use the tomatoes. This is a chickpea mixture, which I made this morning for breakfast, so I'm gonna use this to top the salads for our Caesar salad recipe. You could throw some chickpeas on the stove and bake them, some spices, and just top your chickpea mixture over the top of your salad with your tomatoes. And you're ready to go. And this took me about 10-15 minutes tops to make for dinner. I also had picked up some bread from the pita house, so I think I'm gonna heat some of that up too.